If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you'll know that the print company that I use for my six-figure print-on-demand business is Printify. And while I love Printify and still would recommend using them to this day over anyone else, there are a few things that I wish I would have known before getting started with them. So whether you're already using them or you're considering switching over to Printify, make sure to stay all the way until the end, and I'll tell you all the things that I think you really should know before using Printify. If you're new to my channel, my name is Cassie Johnson. I am a full-time Etsy print-on-demand seller and now Etsy coach. I started my print-on-demand business in 2020, and just a little over 2 years have sold just under $600,000 worth of t-shirts on Etsy, almost exclusively using Printify. So let's jump right in and I'll tell you everything that I've learned. So if you're not already familiar with Printify, Printify is just a website that brings together tons of different print companies all under one house. So when you're taking a look at what items you want to sell on Printify, like the Bella and Canvas 3001 shirt, you would actually click on that shirt and you can look through all of the different print companies that you can choose to have print your items. So they're just a hub that brings together all of these other print companies. The really big benefit to working with a company like Printify and having so many different print companies available is the fact that, let's say I use Monster Digital for most of my printing, which is actually true. When they run out of stock of one of the shirt colors or sizes that I'd like to use, then I can very easily switch to a different company to have that fulfill that shirt that has that size and color in stock. There's a few options of how to actually replace that item that's out of stock with a different company. You can either replace them manually, which when an order is out of stock, there will be a button for you to actually switch it to a different print provider. Or you can have automatic order routing turned on. This is something that Printify really pushes for you to turn on, and you'll get a lot of notifications for. And essentially what it is when an item's out of stock, they will actually automatically choose a different print provider for you and will fulfill that item through the other company. And while that sounds great in theory, there are a few reasons why I actually don't use this at all in my business, and I'll tell you why. Reason number one is I sell a lot of group orders. And if you don't sell a lot of group orders in your Etsy store, this is your sign. Go sell a lot of couple shirts, bachelorette shirts, mommy and me shirts. I do have tutorials on my channel on how to do that if you don't know how yet. The reason why I don't use it because of the group shirts is, let's say you have a group of people order 4 shirts. They order a small, a medium, a large, and an extra large shirt. If Monster Digital is out of stock of just the size small, but they have the other 3 sizes in stock, then what the automatic order routing will do is they'll send that one size small that's out of stock to be made at a different company, but then Monster Digital will still make the medium, the large, and the extra large. So now that shirt comes from a different print company that might look different, and it gets delivered separate, and the customer gets confused as to why one shirt is missing when all the other ones show up. This is already a pretty big deal breaker for me, and so that's the first reason why I don't turn on automatic order routing. But the second reason is you don't have any control over which company they choose to actually change the order to be produced by. Now, when you have someone purchase just one t-shirt from you and it's out of stock, this might not end up being too much of an issue, but the reason why I still wouldn't turn it on if you're not doing group listings is you don't have any control over who they actually use for that replacement shirt. While there are some great print providers on Printify, there are still a few that I will not use in my business. One of them that I try to avoid is Dream Junction, for instance. I've found over the last 2 years that they have pretty spotty quality control, and I'd rather just not use them. But you don't have an option of saying who you'd like to print the replacements and who you don't. So that's why I leave automatic order routing off, and I actually will manually replace each of the items when they're out of stock. That way I can choose which print provider is actually going to be making my items. The second thing I think you should know about Printify before using them is there's a few different options as far as when your orders actually start. You can make this a manual process where no orders actually start to get printed until you click the button that says send it to production. You can have it go through after 1 hour, and then they'll start making the shirt for you. You can have it go through every 24 hours or at a certain time every single day. I'd recommend setting up some kind of automatic order approval so you never forget to go in there and actually send them through. At first, I had them go through every hour, but sometimes people message you a few hours after ordering and want to change something on the order. And if it's already been sent to production, then you can't edit the order. You'd actually have to cancel it and start a new one, which is going to charge you sales tax. So what I do for my business is I have it go through automatically at the same time every single day. I chose to do at 10 a.m. specifically. The other reason why I like to have these orders go through at the same time every single day is because some credit cards will flag too many transactions from the same company in one day as fraud and start declining your credit card. Whereas if you send it all through as one big order once per day, I haven't found any of my credit cards that have an issue with this. And just a side note, using credit cards to get rewards points on all of the money you spend on the t-shirts through Printify is a great way to build up some extra income. I do have a link to 2 of my favorite rewards credit cards down in the description. If you're looking for one, there is the Chase Sapphire Rewards card. They offer large bonuses if you spend a certain amount of money in the first 3 months, as well as a 2% cashback Wells Fargo card. So definitely check out some rewards cards if you haven't yet, so you can earn that little bit extra money on the money you're spending anyways. The third thing I think you should know about using Printify is that some of their print providers do something called design scaling, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Monster Digital is the one who does this most drastically, so I'll use them for this example. So I'll go ahead and click Start Designing. When you add a design to Monster Digital, what this is you're optimizing what size you want the design for on a size large t-shirt. So if this is how I choose to have my design, which this is pretty close to how I do it, I like to put my designs all the way up at the top and have them come a little bit further out than the collar on each side. And I'll go ahead and click Preview. This is how big the design will be on a size large t-shirt. But when someone orders a size medium or a size small, this design is actually going to get smaller along with the size of the t-shirt. I actually ordered 3 samples for you from Monster Digital to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And that is these 3 shirts right here. This is a size large, a size medium, and a size small. And these are all in the color ash, if you were curious, which I am absolutely obsessed with. It's actually a really, really cute color if you've never used the ash color before. If I kind of zoom in, it has this really cute kind of texture to it. Also, I didn't think about the fact that I used smiley faces in these designs when I actually ordered these samples. So please just know that smiley faces like this are actually copyrighted to sell on t-shirts. So if you haven't seen it yet, I did a full video on the 5 shirts you should not be selling in your store, and smiley faces were one of the things. So please excuse me for having a design with smiley faces as my example. I just thought this would be a cute, colorful design to show you a sample of if you haven't seen a print from Monster Digital. So again, starting with the actual size large, you can see how big the design is. It's just how I made it just now in that example. It is a little bit past the collar on each size. And then coming to the size medium, it is a little bit past the collar on each side. And then same with the size small, it's a little bit past the collar on each size. But you can tell that if someone ordered 3 shirts to match, that the size small is actually much smaller drastically than the size large, which I feel like actually kind of makes sense. You know, when I am wearing my size small t-shirt, I don't need the graphic to take up the entire space. You know, I think it makes sense to kind of scale it down, but some people really complain about this and don't enjoy it. I personally, like I said, sell a ton of group orders where people are buying 10, 12 shirts for the entire bachelorette party, and I've only ever had 2 people complain about the size small being so small compared to the large. So I'd still recommend using Monster Digital for your group orders, but this is just something to know that they do. So you can either put it in your description so people expect it. You could have a picture like this as one of your listing photos to explain that that's going to be the case. Or if you'd rather not have this be what your shirts look like, you could use a company like 𝗗𝗓𝗗𝗘, who does this as well, but much less drastically. The shirts will look almost closer to identical instead of such a large difference like Monster Digital has. And then in case you were wondering, any size over size large, the print size actually stays the exact same size. So even on a 5XL shirt, the design is going to be the size on the large. So having about a 12-inch design is what's pretty typical on even a 5XL shirt is totally normal. Don't feel like that's something that's weird. If you go to the store and look at shirts, that is pretty normal. But again, just something to know if you do sell a lot of those larger sizes. Not that a Bella canvas comes in 5XL, but that works exactly the same. The last thing that I think you really should know about Printify before using them is that just like everything else in the past few years, there can be stock issues and there will be stock issues, especially coming up closer to Q4 when the sales really start to pick up for t-shirts and sweatshirts and all the items closer to the holidays. You'll start to see more stock issues with a lot of the different print providers. So my best recommendation to you is to make sure that you're choosing colors for your shirts that multiple print providers carry. So for instance, when I'm looking here at 𝗗𝗓𝗗𝗗𝗘, they have 51 colors available. They're one of the print providers that has the most color options. So you can click this button, More Options, and we can see here that the white color, 22 different print providers have that color available. So if they're out of stock, you're going to have a lot more options to switch to. Whereas compared to the soft pink, only 5 different print providers actually have that color available. And sometimes these are going to be companies that are in other countries. So just like the Heather Clay here, only the Dream Junction, Printforia, and 𝗗𝗓𝗗𝗗𝗘 carry this color. So that's one that I would likely avoid to not have to run into major stock issues this Christmas when a lot of colors go out of stock. One of the biggest issues that we all saw in 2021 was actually with the Gildan 18,000 sweatshirt, which is my preferred sweatshirt to sell in my print-on-demand store, and it was specifically with the color sand. So this color is currently in stock with quite a few print providers. So 4 print providers have it available at the moment, but it is such a popular color that last year they ran out of stock for so long through every print provider that they actually took it off of the Printify platform altogether for a short period of time. So over time, you'll find these different really popular colors that go out of stock quite a bit. I have personally decided to avoid colors like that in my store, even though they sell well, because my goal with my business is to make it as automated as possible. And so I really stick with the main colors that are usually always in stock, like white, black, and gray. One last little bonus tip about Printify is you can pay for their $29 per month program called Printify Premium. This gets you up to a 20% discount on every single item. So really, as soon as you're selling 15 to 20 items per month in your Etsy store, this will absolutely pay for itself. And this is another example, if you haven't seen my taxes video, of something that you actually get to write off on your taxes. So make sure that you are tracking all of your income and expense throughout the year. That way you can easily see how much profit you're actually making after all of your expenses. And then if you haven't seen it yet, I do also have for sale an income and expense calculator. This is $20 and the link will be in the description. You can put in how much revenue you had for the month, what all your fees are, and it'll tell you what your total profit is. It also has a year-to-date dashboard so you can see how much actual profit after all your expenses you're making each month. And then I also have a profit calculator so you can type numbers in here and see how much profit you'd actually make if you price your items at different amounts after Etsy fees, so you can make sure that you're making a good profit on your items. I also have a code down in the description that is 𝗗𝗓𝗗𝗗𝗘, and if you use that, you do get 1 month of free Printify Premium if you've never tried it before. So if you're just getting started, feel free to use that link below. Thank you so much for staying all the way until the end. Please like this video and subscribe if you are enjoying my channel so you can see all of the videos that I make in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.